welcome to Chamber Chat. This is John Tayer, President and CEO of the Boulder Chamber. And, I scheduled an opportunity to interview our re-elected mayor, Aaron Brockett, to get a sense of what he has planned for 2024 in his leadership role at the Boulder City Council. And we're planning it to have this interview in Studio BC, Boulder Chamber. But learned that he might not be available. And so we might have to have this online conversation at an undisclosed location overseas. And so with that, I'm just proud to welcome to Chamber Chat our mayor, Aaron Brockett. And I see that you maybe are not located in a site that I'm familiar with. So can you tell us where you are and what you're up to?
Yeah, absolutely, John. And thanks for having me on. I've watched many a chamber chat myself, so it's an honor to be included in one here with you today. But yes, I am not in the city of Boulder, the state of Colorado, or the country of the United States, or even the continent of North or South America. I am currently in Kathmandu, Nepal, where I have been on a trip to visit our sister city, because as you may know, we established a sister city relationship with Kathmandu about 4 years ago. And so this has been the first opportunity for an elected official from Boulder to come visit Kathmandu in person since that relationship was established. So we've been having an amazing time and learning a great deal and meeting amazing people. And I had a meeting actually with the mayor here in Kathmandu, Mayor Balan Shah, last week. And so we signed declarations reaffirming the sister city relationship. And he is now very interested in coming to Colorado to visit us here in Boulder as well. So establishing some great cross-cultural ties and looking forward to lots more communication with our sister city partners here in Nepal.
That's beautiful, Aaron. I love that you're making that formal connection with a sister city, which has both social but also economic benefits. But just wondering,
Yeah.
what maybe are you learning out there in Tibet about what issues that might apply to the city of Boulder?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I mean, here in Nepal, they're facing a really different set of challenges than we are. A lot of basic infrastructure difficulties, in terms of making sure that they have roads between their major cities and the roads are in good shape, that there's clean water to drink, that they've got pollution under control and things like that. So actually, it gives you a little bit of perspective that we have some things that we really take for granted in our day-to-day lives are struggles for folks in a large part of the world. But at the same time, there's really unparalleled natural beauty here. Of course, nothing really compares to the Flatirons at the end of the day, but I tell you, the Himalayas are something else to see. And we were just in the eastern part of the country a little while ago. There's a valley that starts at 1,000-foot elevation and goes to the fifth highest peak at 27,000 feet elevation, just in like one grand sweep. And it's just awe-inspiring to see. So truly a beautiful country, and the hospitality of folks here is definitely something that we can learn from. I will have to say the gifts I have given have not been quite adequate to the gifts that have been given to me. People here are very welcoming and eager to talk to us, and they really look at everyone here say, "Oh, I would so much love to visit the United States. Maybe I can come visit someday." And of course, I'd say, "Please come visit us, and we can learn from each other. We'll show you around."
I love that, Aaron. And we need more of that cross-cultural connection these days. There's no question. And of course, I think I said Tibet. I meant Nepal.
That's right.
Excuse me on that one. Well, let me just, yeah, I know you're in your last days in Nepal. And so we'll be traveling back to Boulder and hitting the ground running, I'm sure, on a lot of policy issues important to our community, to our businesses. So just wondering if you can just speak to Mayor Brockett, the issues that you are going to be focused on this year for our city council and city government.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of areas of focus. We certainly have some significant challenges in Boulder, and I'll put housing right up at the top of them. So looking at many different ways that we can encourage additional housing at a variety of types and price points. So I think we're going to be moving forward with some like rezonings in the eastern part of town, and also some reforms to make housing easier and more affordable to build. For example, like reforming our parking requirements to reduce or eliminate those, which I'm hopeful we can get done this year. So a lot of action on that front. Um, and I'll also mention, just in terms of the things the business community would be interested in, also looking at some additional permitting reforms, so that, our fortunately our planning department has caught up on most of their backlog, but our processes are still more difficult than they need to be. And our planning department has been working hard on finding ways to streamline some of those processes. And they're bringing back a set of changes just in the next few weeks for us to consider. And then I think we'll continue to look for additional ones as well. So looking forward to that as well. And then we're going into our retreat in about a month, actually 2 months from now. And so really looking forward to collaborating with my fellow council members to find out what their priorities are, and how we can focus together to meet some of the most critical needs in our community, and looking forward to a collaborative process there.
Love it all. I mean, I will say that, and you know this, that the business community is very focused on housing for our workforce. So we will be great partners with you in that effort. And of course, I use the term hammering on the issue of regulatory and permitting process reform. And so have very much appreciated that the councils that you have been a part of are moving in a positive direction and giving guidance to the planning department to improve and speed up those processes, because we know those costs only make it more expensive to build housing and build commercial properties that trickle down to our businesses and to the cost of housing. So thank you on that front. And
Absolutely.
I will just hit you on a couple of issues that I know are going to be critical focuses for the business community and the Boulder Chamber. Homelessness is a factor, or is a significant concern.
Mhm.
Both the care and concern for those who are unhoused, but as well as the impacts on our businesses. And then second, just we've been facing an unusual situation post-COVID with the advent of more remote work, that we have a great deal of office vacancies. So among issues that I know we'll be bringing to the table for consideration and asking our policy leaders to help us address are those two. And I'm wondering if you have any thoughts from your end on those two issues.
Many thoughts. Yes, I mean, I could talk for. We could have a conversation for several hours about the issues of surrounding homelessness easily. But yeah, I mean, certainly a very tough problem, but one that we're working on addressing on a number of different fronts. So, working on opening a day services center, hopefully in just the next couple of months. And I think that'll be really helpful because it'll give people a safe place to be during the day, out of the cold or out of the heat, and get connected to services that will get them into housing eventually, right? So it'll give people an alternative to being by the creek or in other public spaces. Of course, everyone is welcome in public spaces, but give folks who might have no other place to go during the day a place to be comfortable, but also fundamentally connect to services. And so, looking forward to that. Also, lots of progress on the housing first side of things, so providing housing for people. We just opened a 40 unit apartment building in central Boulder, the Bluebird Apartments, that are for transitioning folks out of homelessness and into those apartments, and it leased up essentially immediately. So that's 40 people who, a month ago were out on the streets and today are in an apartment. And so that's a huge victory. I'm also working with a group of people on the high utilizer initiative, because this is something that I know you've been involved with some, John, and as our district attorney, Michael Doherty, our police department, other people in our city staff, and it's looking at the people who are hitting hitting our kind of emergency response services most frequently, the most interventions from police, from emergency medical, and other first responders, and saying, what does it take to get them out of their current situation and into something that's safe for them. And so excited about that possibility, because that could really help people who are struggling intensively, but who are also some of the folks who have some of the highest impacts on the community. because of some of the maybe the mental health challenges they're experiencing. So, looking forward to making progress on that later this year. There's lots of other things, but we don't have all night. So I'll go into the office space.
It's only 7:30 in the morning here.
Okay, well,
So,
it's only 9 o'clock at night here. So, um, um, and then in terms of office vacancy, that's I mean a tough problem, and it's being experienced all across the country as the nature of work changes. I think it's probably changed permanently. You know, it'll shift over time, but it's definitely different than it used to be. So I think a key piece I think is flexibility in terms of how we permit spaces. So I talked about before about making permitting processes easier. I think one of the things that should be easier is if you want to take a space that has been office and maybe convert it into a retail or a restaurant or even residential, that we have the flexibility in our codes that would allow for changes like that. So I think we've made some strides in that direction, but that's one of the things I'll be keeping my eye on is how can we be really flexible in terms of the evolving nature of our commercial spaces.
right, that's great. I mean, and there's so much more that I'm sure we'll both be working on behalf of our economy and our businesses, as well as our community at large. So, lots to consider, and of course, you've got the retreat coming up. So we'll be monitoring that, and the Boulder Chamber will be sharing our thoughts prior to the retreat to offer some opinions from the business community. But I will just leave it with this. I contacted Mayor Brockett, my friend Aaron, and said, "Hey, let's do the chamber chat." And he says, "I'm in Nepal. I'm thinking the scheduling will be difficult." But I just so appreciate you accommodating, and it's exemplifies to me the commitment that you make in your role as mayor, the time and service, and to our business community interests. You've always been available to us, and listening and understanding our issues. So I'm looking forward to a productive year ahead. When you get back in the ground here in Boulder, I will say that it's rainy today, which is, as the chamber person says, listen, 300 days of sunshine. So you're missing one of those rainy
Ah,
days. So
I'll take it. I'll take it. Well, now, I'll just say, John, that maybe a few things exemplify the good partnership we have between the business community and our city government. That the fact that we're doing this at 7:30 a.m. your time and 9 o'clock p.m. my time on a Saturday.
Amen. Well, thank you so much for being with us here today. And I'll say to all our Boulder Chamber Chat viewers, we'll see you next time on Chamber Chat.
Chamber chat.